You're watching Northern Crimes.
Washington State, with its stunning landscapes and bustling cities, hides a darker side. Beneath the serene exterior, some of the most baffling unsolved crimes have left communities in fear and families desperate for answers. In the cities and remote areas alike, these chilling cases cast long shadows, reminding us that danger can lurk anywhere. So join us as we explore three of Washington's most mysterious and haunting unsolved cases. Each story is filled with unanswered questions, setting the stage for a journey into the unknown, where the line between safety and peril is disturbingly thin. This is Northern Crimes. In the heart of Washington State lies the quiet, remote community of Mineral. Tucked in between dense forests and rugged terrain, this seemingly tranquil area became the backdrop for one of the most chilling and unsolved murder cases of the 1980s. The media would come to call it the, quote, tube sock killings, a name that evokes both curiosity and fear. But for the families of the victims, it represents an enduring nightmare. In the summer of 1985, what began as a simple camping trip for a young couple soon turned into a harrowing tale of mystery and terror. This is the story of the tragic events that left the community of Mineral in shock and the search for answers that, to this day, remain elusive. On August 10, 1985, Stephen Harkins, 27, and his girlfriend, Ruth Cooper, 42, left their Tacoma home for a peaceful weekend camping trip at Toole Lake in Pierce County. The couple was known for their love of the outdoors, but this trip would tragically be their last. When the couple failed to return to their jobs at a Tacoma vocational school on Monday, their families grew concerned and reported them missing. 4 days later, on August 14th, hikers passing through the remote campsite made a grim discovery. Stephen Harkins' lifeless body lay in a sleeping bag, a bullet wound to his head, suggesting he'd been shot while asleep. Nearby, the couple's pet dog was also found deceased. At the time, law enforcement suspected a connection to the March 1985 murders of Edward Smith and Kimberly Diane Levine, another couple from Kent, Washington, but the investigation soon took a darker turn. On October 26, a skull was found near Harts Lake, just 1.5 miles from where Harkins' body had been discovered. Dental records confirmed it was Ruth Cooper. 2 days later, her body and purse were found 50 feet from the skull. A tube sock was eerily tied around her neck, and an autopsy revealed she had died of homicidal violence. Tragically, the story doesn't end there. Over a month after Ruth Cooper's body was found, another couple from Tacoma, Mike Reamer, 36, and Diana Robertson, 21, along with their 2-year-old daughter Crystal, embarked on a trip to find a Christmas tree on December 12, 1985. That evening, customers at a Kmart store in Spanaway, 30 miles north, found young Crystal standing alone outside the door. Unable to provide coherent information about her parents' whereabouts, the police were called in to investigate. 2 months later, on February 18, 1986, Diana Robertson's body was discovered near a logging road off Washington State Route 7, south of Elbe. She'd suffered from multiple wounds, and similarly to Ruth Cooper, had a tube sock tied around her neck. Mike Reamer's pickup truck was found nearby, with a blood-stained note on the dashboard that read, "I love you, Diana." This note was identified by Diana's mother as being in Mike's handwriting. With Mike Reamer missing, investigators initially suspected him of Diana's murder. But a lack of motive and the possibility that he too was a victim of the same killer left the case wide open. And in fact, Reamer had been charged with domestic assault against Diana just months prior, but they'd reconciled by December. Years and years passed, and in March 2011, a new development emerged when hikers found a partial human skull in the area where Diana's body was discovered. Dental records confirmed it belonged to Mike Reamer. Although the cause of death remains undetermined, authorities did rule out a gunshot wound. To this day, the tube sock killings remain one of Washington State's most perplexing cold cases. Despite years of investigation and public appeals, the murderer or murderers responsible for these heinous acts have never been brought to justice. The families of Stephen Harkins, Ruth Cooper, Mike Reamer, and Diana Robertson continue to seek closure, haunted by the unanswered questions and the loss of their loved ones. In the town of Redmond, Washington, a tragic mystery has haunted the community for over a decade. A vibrant young software engineer was brutally murdered in her apartment. Despite law enforcement's efforts and extensive investigations, the killer remains free. This is the story of Arpana Jinaga, a case cloaked in darkness and unanswered questions. Arpana Jinaga was an exceptional young woman. Born in Hyderabad, India, she pursued her dreams with relentless tenacity. After mastering her studies, Arpana moved to the United States to advance her career in computer engineering. She settled in Redmond, where she thrived as a software engineer at a local Bellevue company. Those who knew Arpana characterized her as intelligent, sociable, and vivacious. She had a charismatic personality that attracted people, forging friendships easily in her new home. Arpana was outgoing and friendly, joining a motorcycle club, practicing taekwondo, and volunteering at an animal shelter and fire department, all within 8 months of moving to Redmond. On Halloween night in 2008, Arpana, like many others in her apartment complex, was eager to celebrate. The complex was filled with festive spirit, and a lively party was underway. Arpana, dressed in a costume, joined her neighbors and friends for a night of fun. Witnesses remember seeing Arpana having a great time at the party, mingling with guests, and even participating in a Halloween costume contest. But as the night unfolded, she eventually returned to her apartment, unaware it would be her last time seen alive. The next morning, Arpana's unresponsiveness to calls and messages stirred concern. A worried neighbor, along with a friend of Arpana's father, decided to check on her, only to discover a horrifying scene. Arpana's apartment showed signs of a violent struggle, and her lifeless body bore the marks of a brutal attack. The killer had attempted to clean up the scene by using bleach, toilet bowl cleaner, and motor oil to destroy DNA evidence. Her bed had been stripped, a blanket was partially burned, and her soaked comforter was found in the bathtub. The Redmond police initiated an intensive investigation, identifying several suspects who'd attended the party or known Arpana. DNA found at the crime scene was linked to 3 men, but only one, Emmanuel Fair, was charged with murder. Fair's DNA was found on Jinaga's neck, a piece of duct tape used to gag her, and a piece of toilet paper found at the crime scene was mixed with Jinaga's blood on a robe found in the apartment building's trash bin. The neighbor's DNA was found on a discarded bottle of motor oil found in the same bag with the robe, and a third man's DNA was on a bootlace, also found in the trash, but he had an alibi. Despite the DNA evidence collected, the case was marked with complexities. Multiple DNA profiles made it challenging to identify the killer. Additionally, the neighbor, a suspect, invoked his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, limiting the scope of questions he could be asked during the trial. In the ensuing years, Emmanuel Fair faced 2 trials for the murder. The first, in 2017, resulted in a deadlocked jury and a mistrial. The second trial, in 2019, Fair was found not guilty. A juror from the second trial revealed that the jury was evenly split at the start, but eventually concluded that the state had not met its burden of proving the case beyond a reasonable doubt. They found Fair not guilty because of reasonable doubt, not because they believed he was completely innocent. Years have passed, but Arpana's murder remains a raw wound for her family and friends. They continue to seek justice in hopes that the truth will one day come to light. This case has caught the attention of true crime enthusiasts and investigators, all trying to solve the puzzle that remains unsolved. Who killed Arpana Jinaga? Was it someone she knew, or a random act of violence? Or is the truth buried between the layers of evidence, waiting to be unearthed? The questions persist, and the mystery endures. In the peaceful town of Tumwater, Washington, the pace of life was steady and predictable. However, in May 2016, a mystery that remains unsolved to this day shook this small community. This is the story of Logan Schiendelman, a bright and kind-hearted young man who disappeared without a trace. At the time of his disappearance, Logan was only 19 years old. Raised by his devoted grandmother, Logan was recognized for his intelligence and gentle spirit. He'd recently graduated from Tumwater High School, where he was a star defensive back on the school's football team, and briefly attended Washington State University. But despite his promising future, Logan seemed burdened in the days leading up to his disappearance. On the morning of May 19, 2016, Logan was last seen by his grandmother at their home. He appeared distracted and preoccupied with thoughts he didn't share at the time. That morning, he left the house and no one saw him again. Later that day, Logan's car, a black 1996 Chrysler Sebring, was found deserted on the shoulder of Interstate 5 near mile marker 92. His wallet, phone, and driver's license were left in the car, but Logan was nowhere to be found. The vehicle showed no signs of struggle or foul play, exacerbating the mystery of his disappearance. Inside his wallet were his debit card, driver's license, and $25 in cash. Search parties were promptly organized with family, friends, and law enforcement searching the area for any clues. Despite the use of search dogs and local community support, their efforts failed to locate Logan. Several drivers reported seeing a young man fitting Logan's description walking along the interstate. One witness saw a man resembling Logan standing outside the parked car on Interstate 5, accompanied by 2 white men. Another witness reported seeing Logan's vehicle swerving across lanes and crashing into the center median around 2 p.m., with a man exiting the passenger side and running into the woods. These conflicting reports added further confusion to an already baffling case. A search with cadaver and tracking dogs in those woods lasted 6 hours, but yielded no results. As days turned into weeks, Logan's family remained hopeful. They made public appeals for information, sharing Logan's story on social media and with news outlets. The case even gained national attention, being profiled on the investigation discovery series Disappeared in 2018 and on Dateline NBC's podcast Missing in America in 2023, but no significant leads were found. Speculation about Logan's disappearance has been widespread. Some believed he had voluntarily disappeared, possibly due to mental health issues or a personal crisis. Others feared he'd been abducted or was a victim of foul play. Theories abounded, but none brought the answers Logan's family desperately needed. The emotional toll on Logan's family and community has been severe. Despite the pain, the hope for uncovering the truth remains. The case is still open, with law enforcement reviewing any new tips. Logan Schiendelman's disappearance serves as a chilling reminder of how quickly a life can become a mystery. His story leaves us with more questions than answers, a young man lost in the shadows of uncertainty. Washington State, a blend of natural beauty and urban life, is overshadowed by lingering mysteries. Each case we've examined highlights the thin line between tranquility and danger. The ongoing quest for answers and justice underscores the unseen darkness lurking in even the most serene places. So, thanks for joining us as we probe these mysteries, and stay tuned for more intriguing stories on Northern Crimes.